It's now my privilege to introduce to you Ben Scott, who is a barber, and he has made it his intention to integrate questions about well-being into his work with his clients as they sit in his chair. And Ben has got some stories to share with us about how he has these courageous conversations as a layperson, and I'm sure we have much to learn. So welcome, Ben.
So thanks for having me today. It's a bit of a random thing to come and speak to a lot of professionals like this. I don't need to do this often. But pretty much I just wanted to touch base on kind of how I've got here today. I've got a shop in Sydenham. I started by basically just doing haircuts for my friends and my family, but I'll take it right back. Shouldn't do that. When I was 4 years old, we moved to the West Coast. One thing I realised over on the West Coast is everywhere you're driving, they've got this weird thing that they do, and I'm going back this weekend, but everyone that drives past, on the steering wheel they'll wave, and they'll wave to every single person that goes past. When we moved to Christchurch when I was 14 years old, me and my brother, there was a bit of a random sort of weird thing. We'd walk through the mall and would kind of be like talking to people and would say, "How are you?" sort of thing, like, and there was so many people. So the school I went to over on the coast had 200 kids from year 0 to 13. The school I moved here to Burnside had 2,500 kids. So saying hi to every single person was not possible. So so we'd try our best anyway, but that was kind of like the friendly sort of culture we've kind of brought up with over on the West Coast. You'd just be nice and you go about and you'd ask how you are, sort of thing, which is a classic because I actually written a little challenge down at the end there. But yeah, so the story of how my barbershop started, left school, Dad was a builder, so I was actually going to go to building. It made sense, so went and started a building apprenticeship, did 2.5 years of doing that, and I moved into a flat, and there was 15 of us in a flat. The rent was $43 a week, so most of us were either at uni or studying. I was 20 at the time, and I'd actually called in sick, which is a bit frowned upon now that I'm an employer because a bit frowned upon move. Called in sick, wasn't that sick, I just wanted a day off, and so we used to room share. There was 3 of us in the same room, and it was a massive room, and my flatmate woke up and I was still there, and he's like, "You're just supposed to be at work today," and I was like, "Nah, I'm not feeling it." So he's like, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "Oh, I just want to go to the mall and buy a pair of hair clippers. I want to give myself a haircut." And so he was like, "Can you give me a haircut?" And I was just like, I'd never done long hair before, it was quite long. I was like, "I'm sure I can YouTube it, it'll be fine." And so in the flat there's 15, 13 of them were boys, 2 girls, and so I had lots of test dummies for haircuts. I'd go to work from 7:30 till 4 building, and then I'd come home and do some haircuts at home, and I'd charge them. We had a fish and chip shop across the road, the deep fried dream bar for a haircut. So that was the going rate back then. Then we were just about to go on holiday, and I stuffed up my own haircut, went across to the shop. It's actually just in Sydenham as well, and the guy said, "Do you do this for a job?" And I said, "Not at all, I do building for a job." And he goes, "Well, that's quite random, would you like to do it for a job?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll give it a go." So I was still building, and I'd come in on a Friday night and a Saturday, and he would just ask me to come in and just hang out. And so my trial interview, I got my friend that I'd given the first haircut to that I stuffed up real bad. He came in to the interview, gave him a cut on the ear, and the guy just cracked up laughing at me, and he just said, "Don't worry, you'll cut heaps more people on the ear." And I was like, that makes total sense. But and so the next day he said, "There's a chair next to me, just cut next to me, and I'll walk you through it." And so I was like, "That's fine." I'd only watch YouTube at this stage and learn from that way. And so, but he's like, "If you get stuck, just ask me questions." So I did that. First day, got to the end of the day, and he goes, "What are you doing next weekend?" And I was like, "I've got rugby in the afternoon, nothing." Then he goes, "Oh, here's the key, you're running the shop by yourself next weekend." And I was just like, "This is random as," but okay, I'll just go with it. So I just ran with it for a bit, and then pretty much he would keep ringing me when there's like a rainy day and I was building, and he would say, "Do you want to come work in the shop for a few hours?" And so my building boss wouldn't be too proud of it, but I could just kind of see that I actually enjoyed cutting hair because I used to just get to chat to people all the time and it was good fun. So I figured out that I could get paid to do my friends' haircuts and catch up with them, and they'd pay me to hang out with them, so I was like, this is a good deal. So pretty much from there, I was building full-time, doing that on the side. Was playing rugby and tore my ACL playing rugby, so that was surgery and there was a bit of time off work. But what I found is I could do my friends and just hang out with my friends and do some haircuts and just muck around a wee bit. It was quite fun. So realised I didn't really want to do building as much anymore. So moved to Auckland to study at the barber school up there. As soon as I got the sign, I think I got the sign off for ACC on the Friday and started the course on Monday in Auckland on the Monday. Came back and I just never really clicked with all the shops that were around with what they were doing. They all had different things that they stood for, and I just didn't really like it. So I decided I just wanted to do my own thing. One of the guys I used to build with had a caravan, and he said, "I'll give you this caravan for a deal if you you just have to give us a few haircuts along the way." And so I was like, "That's a good price." So did that, ripped it all to pieces, built it all up. And then Mum and Dad's front yard kind of turned into a mini hub for a barbershop. So in the backyard we had just the one caravan doing haircuts. Did that for about a year, building it up. I worked from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, which is not smart, but you have to do it sometimes. Pretty much from there, it started pumping. We started doing haircuts for the All Blacks and all the rest of it. We'd go out and left over here in town, we'd take it out to the hotel room and do haircuts for them. So that was kind of how we kind of boosted up our marketing. But what I realised is from the very first day, there was a person that came in, I don't know if many people know him, but his name's Spanky Moore, and he's a counsellor at the university. He used to be on RDU as a radio presenter. But one thing he said to me on the first day, he said, "There's a lot more to this than you think," and I was just like, "What are you on about?" sort of thing. That was day one, being, I guess, a bit just naive of the whole situation that I'm in. And then the next day I had someone come in, sit down, get a haircut, and then I said, "Oh, how's things going?" He goes, "Oh, not good. This has happened. I've broken up with my partner," or something like this. Or you hear someone that goes, "Oh, life's going all good. Someone just passed away." And then I was just like, I was a 21-year-old at the time, staring in a mirror, and they're staring at you in the mirror, and you've got to try and figure out what to say next. And I was only 21, so I didn't know anything. And my advice was not good at that time. But pretty much what I'd end up doing is I'd taken home their stuff, and I was like, no, that's not good for me. So I started talking to people about it, especially Spanky, who've been like, "Hey, I don't know what to do. I'm taking on all of their stuff, and it's affecting me." So I started talking with him about that and finding mentors around the place, just to help me work through that. And so as that kind of started bumping along, I was kind of made aware that there's a lot of stuff going on. We started after the earthquakes, so a lot of people coming through telling you their stories, what they're going through and all sorts. So pretty much that started ticking along pretty well. I was doing about 100 haircuts a week. Then I hired another person, built another caravan, and then from there it kind of started pumping. So we moved to Sydenham last year, and that's a 300 square metre warehouse. There's 10 chairs that we do haircuts out of. We've got a half-court basketball court in there, and kind of wanted to make a place where people could come and hang out and kind of just be themselves and just put all the stuff away to the side and do their own little thing. So it was kind of like a fun workplace for the boys to work at. So if they were having a bit of a crappy day, they could just go in the middle of the day, shoot some homes, come back and carry on with the haircuts. Or they had like PlayStation setups and that'd be ideal. And because we've got quite a young workforce, the youngest is 18, the oldest is 30, and there's 13 of us now, and so I wanted to set up a place that people could come and hang out, and whether it was little kids running around, like a 2-year-old running around, or look at this old fella that's like, well, he'd be 80, I reckon he's going to carg in our shop one day. But he comes in and he gets a haircut and a shave every 2 weeks, and he is old, eh? But it's so funny, he comes in every 2 weeks and he'll sit there and he'll just chat away, and it's his little outing for the day. He'll come in and we just crack up laughing, gets a coffee, and he hangs out for like an hour and a half. But that's just like a little thing. That's his little like hub to come and chat to the boys, and the boys love it because there's like all these boys that are 21-year-olds hanging up with this like 85-year-old that's getting a shave and a haircut. So it kind of started kind of ticking along pretty well from there. And then on that very first day, me and Spanky Moore started talking about it. How can we come up with a way that you could kind of create a counselling sort of system without calling them a counsellor, because boys are scared of counsellors, to break the ice a wee bit. But what I found is a lot of boys talk side by side doing an activity rather than over a coffee in front, face to face. And so I wanted to figure out a way that I could do something. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try some things. So me and Spanky had been chatting about it for years on Eden. Every time we come in for a haircut, we made a wee deal. He tried getting me to go on a silent retreat because he thought I was quite busy and I'd had a lot of things on my mind, and I do lots of random things. And so he goes, I want you to come on a silent retreat, which is like 2 days of just not talking, doing nothing, but just being present with yourself. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So I'd always find an excuse to get out of it. So he said, well, you're going to give me free haircuts until you come on one. So I'm still giving him free haircuts, but I'm getting closer to going on it. So pretty much me and him started coming up with different ideas of how we could come up with, I guess, calling it a counsellor, but not a counsellor. And we wanted to put it on the booking system, so you could book a haircut or a beard trim or whatever. But then at the bottom we had a thing called a book a yarn, and it was just come into the shop, and we wanted to try it for 12 weeks. Whereas they would qualify counsellors, but we didn't call them that. We called them yarnologists. So you're just going to come for a yarn, where people would come, have a cold drink, and then hang out with someone upstairs. And they were qualified counsellors, and they would just chat to them. And so we just wanted to see if it would work. And so we had some counsellors volunteer to try. What I found with that is it was quite a corporate setting. Like we're up in like a nice office upstairs. I wasn't doing it, the counsellors were there, but what I found is people would come and talk, and sometimes you'd get 4 people come, and sometimes you'd get none. But what I found is when we hosted events, we actually had a lot more people come. I don't know if many people know, but there's a game called Rugby 08, which used to be on the PlayStation 2, and we had a competition at the shop, and we had about 50 people turn up, all complete randoms. Someone travelled from Timaru to come and play it. So, but we just had a little challenge, and we actually had like 50 people in the shop, didn't know each other, and they would just hang out and talk to each other because there was an activity in front of them, but they didn't know each other, and just chat about what the activity is. So I kind of like got out of the 12-week trial that boys are bad at talking, boys and girls sometimes, but are bad at talking face to face. And so I wanted to figure out a way that we could try to do that. And it's actually quite funny that the people that I've bumped into over the time through the shop, and we do over 600 haircuts a week now in the shop. And last year that was 32,000, but they're booked in for half an hour. There's 32,000 at times 30-minute conversations were happening through the shop. So I wanted to try to figure out a way to come up with some different ideas around that sort of thing. So I guess from there I wanted to come up with some plans, try the yarnologist thing first, and that worked well. It got people talking, but what I wanted to do from now on is sort of 1 day a week. While I'm cutting at the moment, I cut maybe 3 days a week at the shop, and I did 2 weeks on the front counter at the shop. We've got a coffee bar at the front where we take all the payments, and what I found is a lot of people were coming in, and we've got the sign book yarn at the start when you walk in the shop, and people would stand there and they'd talk to me about it, and I was just like, I can either do 15 haircuts a week, or I can stand in the front counter and just chat to people. And so I'm trying to figure out a way that now on a Saturday I can actually just work the front counter doing coffees, but just make it that if people want to come and chat, they can just come and sit and have a coffee next to me. I'm not going to talk over the table to them, but they can come and just chat. I had a young fella when I was on that coffees 2 weeks ago, sit there for about 2 hours, and pretty much the situation that had gone through, he had his older sister committed suicide when he was 15 or 16. He went home, didn't know who to talk to about it. His mum and dad were already at state anyway, so he couldn't talk to them because they were already bad as it is. But he didn't talk about it for ages and ages, and I just said to him, I was like, what are you going to do about it? And he goes, this is 5 years on. He actually works with a guy that just asked him one day, how you getting on? And he goes, oh, not too good. I don't think I've dealt with it. I think I've actually just got a big rug and just keep kicking it under the rug for a long time. And with that, what he's done is he's tripped himself up, and by not dealing with that stuff. So what I said to him was like, mate, you can start talking to some people about it. And that's when I said the various things out there, started showing them through different things online. There's heaps of different things where you can go to that they send you in a different direction, and even just free advice that you can get when you can go to the doctors. It will cost you, but you can get 4 sessions and stuff like that. But a lot of people think that if you go to the doctors when they're in their bad state, they think munted, they're ill, that's all the terms that they'll tell me in through the shop. My brother's been through depression, I've seen it myself, and so when I found that these young fellas are coming through, young and old, when they've got the good things coming through, they've also got the bad things. So we've got the chance to talk to them for half an hour, whether it means just chatting away to someone. But one of the challenges is quite funny. I'd written it down before he actually spoke on it about a little challenge for some people today. And I was actually listening to it on YouTube, so my little random thing I do at the moment is go to the gym and sit on the bike as much as it sucks. I get a little podcast or something and I just listen and try to learn while I'm on it, because it's half an hour of something that I hate doing anyway, so I might as well learn something. So, but for that half an hour, I just sit there, and one of the things that spoke out today was about asking that how are you sort of thing, and he goes, and it's a guy that basically is somewhat like a mentor to the Seattle Seahawks, and he goes, one of the things that his coach, he recommends and he sees him do it, is the coach will come in and sit down and he'll say, how are you sort of thing, but it's not like a, hey, how are you sort of thing and carry on. It's like he'll stop and he'll ask, how are you actually getting on, and he'll stop. And he won't walk away until that person's answered the question. If the person's like, yeah, you're good, and just carry on, he'll actually go, no, how are you sort of thing, and ask. So that's what we challenge for this week for you guys, is if you've got someone that's close by and if you do ask, how are you, just stop and actually listen. So, thank you.